So I think we've all had those moments where we've started a project with the best of intentions and we've got halfway through it and we're no longer inspired to finish that project. I feel that recently. Like, I've painted up some Deathwatch because I really want to do the bases and I want to experiment with bases. So I thought, I've had some Deathwatch models for a while, it'd be a really good use of my time. But what I found was that although it was fun building the Deathwatch models and it was cool building some interesting bases for them, what didn't inspire me was actually painting power armor. And so I did the power armor. I messed around with a few new colours from Pro Acryl, with the whites, to try and do some Black Templar symbols, things like that. But after that, I just kind of fell flat. I was like, has my lust and love for painting gone, or is it just that I'm not feeling that at the moment? And I think that's the thing where, like, we potentially have to look at, like, what makes us happy. And I think there's always a part of us that wants to finish projects because that's cool. Seeing the finished product makes us really happy, and we can then use that in a game and it's not sprayed grey and we don't feel bad for our opponents. But in the same respect, are you then happy with that quality of job that you've done? So in today's video, I want to do something different. I don't want to finish painting power armor and Space Marines. I want to look at a new project. And that new project is going to be the Kings of War Ambush box set for Halflings. So the question obviously on everyone's mind is, why am I not playing the old world? Well, that's simple. It's really expensive. You look at the army boxes and they're like 120 quid for models that are 20 to 30 years out of date. And do you know what? That doesn't inspire me. What does inspire me? Halflings. And so in this box, you get a unit of 20 Halflings and you get 2 units of 5 Halfling Riders. And all I want to do, open up the box, make a cool base, build some models, and then potentially put some paint on it. And we'll go from there. So a super quick unboxing and build. Just, you know, this is an ambush box. It's not got a lot of minis in it, but I obviously struggle with how to get it out of the wrap. And they're multi-part models. These can be glued with plastic or resin, and they just go together nice and quick and easy. There's a little quick start rules and the multi-part bases for those models. Once we've got it all built, you can see there is 20 little halflings that I've done with spears as recommended in the box, and then 2 squads of 5 wild riders, which are the guys with guns, but you can sort of mix and match the kit together. But a product we're going to be adding to the web store very soon is an upgrade for your multi-part bases, where you can actually have the nerve characteristic tracked with dice built into the back of the bases. To make my bases, I've then used a range of cork and some bits of cork bark, and then I'm just using bits of polyfiller here now just to try and level it out and get a nice flat surface with a bit of texture in it. And once it's all done and set and dried, it'll come out really nice and clean that I can then use to put the models on. So I'm obviously taking care to avoid the little dice slots I've made. Obviously this does mean that the base is raised slightly. The awesome part here about Kings of War Mantic is that in actual fact you don't have to stick every model into the single base, because you just remove the base when it's wiped out. So in actual fact it needs to look busy and detailed. So in this one, obviously polyfill hadn't properly dried yet and an odd model fluff, but I was able to use and stick the models into the bases, into the rough places where I wanted them to be, and leave that to dry, with the idea that this would then be the scene that I would paint for each of these models. And as you can see, I've been really careful at each point to leave the dice slots at the back, but I've used bits of the cork and polyfiller just to give it that texture ready to be painted. As no one wants to see me prime, what I've done is I've done that away, and now all I'm going to do is start using some Vallejo Premium Colour, which is airbrush paint, because it's a nice bit thin, just to start doing a ground covering on this. So I'm going for a muddy sort of like full texture, so I want it dark mud, There'll be mud over the models, so I've got some splatter effects to potentially add later once I've painted the models. But all I'm doing is giving it a nice quick all over. I'm going to then leave that to dry. I'm going to do that to obviously all of the models. For all the rocks, all I'm doing is using Vallejo's Premium Colour Grey just to sort of give it that base tone. What I'm going to do is in the future bit is actually apply some washes just to give it some different textures and looks across it. So this is mainly just like a starting layer to keep it all consistent across the rocks, across all of the different bases. And now for the fun part, I'm going to be using the Pro Acryl Medium Glaze and Wash. I'm just going to mix it up with two or three different colours, just some jade, some brown grey, and I'm just going to use that all over the base over the rocks to make it just have those different textures and colours. And obviously I'm going to have to leave this to properly dry in between each one. This is where it's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm just going to fast forward this part. Having completed all the main basing, it's now just time to actually flock these models. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little laser cut tray that I just use to put PVA glue in and stuff like that, and I'm going to use the grass flock Late Fall from AK Interactive. I really like it because it's just straightforward in a tub, and I can pour it back into the tub nice and easy, and it goes tight. And all we're doing is applying the PVA glue around the edges, nice and easy, a bit sporadically, so we can still see the brown ground covering beneath. And then all we're going to do is start throwing a load of flock over it. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is a Kings of War Halfling base ready to be painted.